Washington Wizards get Trae Young from the Atlanta Hawks for CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. So surprising to me in this deal, there was no picks involved in this one. And Trae Young, he wanted to go to the Wizards, and next season he could opt in or out of his contract as Trae Young, but I think he's going to opt in, and this season was a lost year for him with this Atlanta Hawk team. He only played in 10 games this season. He was there for 8 seasons, and I think it was a time for change where Atlanta wanted to get off Trae Young's contract, and Trae Young, he probably felt disrespected and obviously wanted out there, and they worked together to get this deal done. So this season, Trae Young, in only 10 games, like I said, 19.3 points a game, 1.5 rebounds, 8.9 assists, a steal, 1.8 threes, and 41% from the field. So Trae Young, we know he's been one of the better scorers in the league and assist guys over the last couple seasons. But this season with injuries and his numbers are down, like I said, Atlanta, they wanted to move off this contract, even though they got CJ McCollum in the deal, who's a nice expiring contract, and Corey Kispert, who's a decent shooter. But pretty much this was a salary dump, I think, more than anything for this Atlanta Hawk team, where now they got a lot of expiring contracts, and maybe they make a push for a guy, obviously, like Anthony Davis on the trade market or someone else. So in terms of fantasy basketball, I think his numbers are going to go back up. Is Trae Young. This is a young Washington Wizard team, obviously, where they don't got much going and a lot of young players. And also as well, Trae Young, he's going to get unlimited amount of shot attempts, I believe, over there in Washington. Like I said, they needed another guy who could at least score the basketball, sell some tickets, and that's what Trae Young's going to bring to Washington. Washington definitely has a good young nucleus, but they're ways away from competing to get into the playoffs, in my opinion. But bringing in Trae Young, like I said, he could sell more tickets, and I think his numbers are going to go up. Now to the Hawk side of things, like I said, CJ McCollum, he's a good veteran. He's an expiring contract. He might be used in another deal for all we know. And this season, it's been a solid year once again for McCollum. 18.8 points a game, 3.5 rebounds, 3.6 assists, 2.7 threes, and 45% from the field. So if he does stay with the Atlanta Hawks, he's going to pencil in either coming off the bench as McCollum or start at point guard, I would think, for this Atlanta Hawk team, because we know they got Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson over there, Kristaps Porzingis, Okongwu, Keely Alexander-Walker. It's a solid Atlanta team, but like I said, he definitely could be in another deal with CJ McCollum towards the deadline, which is February 5th. But in terms of fantasy basketball, I think his points will go down a little bit, because we've seen these guys pretty much all season long play without Trae Young, only played in 10 games. So like I said, I think the scoring will go down, but I could see the assist numbers go up a little bit, and the rebounding, and maybe the efficiency from McCollum. So he's a guy, pretty much, I think the value for the most part will be the same. Just the points per game, I think, will be down. And Corey Kispert, he's not really a fantasy option. He's just a guy that's going to come off the bench, hit some threes. And we know this Hawk team has a few guys that could come off the bench and make things happen. Kispert, he's going to get limited minutes, I believe, with this Hawk team on the year. 9.2 points a game, 2.3 assists, 1.7 assists, 1.6 threes, and 49% from the field. So like I said, it's not going to have fantasy value. And even with Washington, he's out there in 99% of leagues is Kispert. So he pretty much was a throw-in to line up the money a little bit. But this was more of a salary dump for the Atlanta Hawks and the Wizards to get a guy who they could build around a little bit in the future to go with the young players. So Trae Young, after days of obviously rumors, it comes to fruition. He's traded to the Wizards, and we'll see if he can help this Wizard team and get his numbers back up for fantasy owners for the remainder of the 2026 season.